Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name's David and this is a deck review. Today we're going to look at the Oracle deck of playing cards from Chris Avanienko. If you don't remember, Chris Avanienko did the Day of the Dead deck, the Calaveras deck that we reviewed a little while ago. And if you'd like to learn more about him or his cards, you can always check him out at deadonpaper.com. Now, the Oracle deck, or the Mystifying Playing Cards deck, is inspired by things like Ouija boards, spirit photography, seances, ectoplasm, levitating tables, all that kind of spirit writing, all of that spiritualist movement that Houdini tried to combat in his lifetime. And what Chris wanted to do is kind of capture all of that in a deck of cards, and I think he's done a really great homage to that. On the front of the deck is kind of a skeleton with skeletal wings that says Oracle. There was a bicycle branded version of this deck. It was a limited run. I did not get that one, but it was also quite attractive. You'll notice that it's got kind of a muted gold foil wrap all the way around with a flat black tuck case. I always like flat black. I think that looks better for tucks. It says Oracle Mystifying Playing Cards on one side and on the other. And on the bottom it says some dead on paper ad copy. The back design, of course, is a mirrored image of the Ouija board, which is also the back design of the cards. Has every letter of the alphabet, including the words goodbye, yes, and no, and of course the hand with the all-seeing eye in it. A really cool thing about the tuck case is the custom seal on this. Not only does it say Oracle down there on the bottom of the flap, but this custom seal is a special notation to people who know a little bit about Houdini's history. It does say Rosabelle Believe. Rosabelle Believe was the hidden code word that Houdini told his wife that if he could cross over from the dead, that would be the indicator to her that he had made it. He didn't tell anybody, she didn't tell anybody, and it was supposedly what he would tell her if he were able to cross over from the dead. Rosabelle Believe was a line from a play that his wife had been in when she was younger, and so she waited 10 years for Houdini to reappear, and even though now, still today, they hold a seance for Houdini on his birthday, which is Halloween, in the Magic Castle in Hollywood. Also on the little tiny tuck flaps here, there is yes and no, which is also from the Ouija board. And then the inside is kind of a red foil damask, which is really, really pretty. And it's probably even more strange that I know the word damask. So that's the tuck case. Let's take a look at these cards. These cards are gorgeous. I love Chris Avanienko's artistic style, and he is certainly becoming a contender for putting out really good, really quality deck. The first thing you're going to notice about this deck is the back design of the cards, which is, again, the same as the back of the tucks. It is a mirrored image. It has the skull, skeleton, winged creature at the top and the bottom, and then this kind of mystical sun and moon in the corners. Then with the Ouija board with a mirrored image on the top and bottom. With this deck, you're also going to get a double backer, which is always great to have with a deck of cards. And then your one gaff is the yes and no from the Ouija board. And certainly if you're a magician, you could probably work this into some routine that had to deal with mysticism. This deck also includes two jokers. It depicts a man kind of floating above a table in a seance. And the only difference is one joker, the font is red, and the other one, the font is the same color as the cards, which is kind of like a muted, yellowed, archived paper color. Also, another interesting thing about this deck is the pips are all in a circular pattern on every single card. Chris did this to mimic the way people sit at a seance. People in a seance will sit in a circle. And so all of your numeric begin to put the pips into a circular rotation. That does two things. One, it makes each card very hard to decipher. You know, if you're the kind of person that can look at the pips and immediately know what card you have in your hands, when they're in a circle, it's harder to tell. Of course, you know, the pips are in the corners. That tells you that this is the 10. But when you're playing cards, these might not be the best cards to play with. So there's that. The second thing that putting the pips into a circle does is it makes for a very striking pattern, though, when you fan the cards out. Before, in a deck of cards, all the numerics kind of look different, and the backs all look the same. But now with Chris's deck, now they kind of mirror each other. You know, the backs look the same and the faces look the same. So in an artistic sense, it's kind of cool. So then I would say that there's a positive and negative to that. So that's it for some of the extra cards. Let's look at your aces. Now what Chris did with this deck is he made the ace card be the leader card that would kind of indicate the theme for that suit. And so each one of these aces carries a theme that the court cards in that same suit lend themselves to. So this first one is the ace, and the ace of spades has a feather quill on each side. The feather quill is a way of paying a nod to the spiritualist movement of automatic writing. And so when you look at the courts, each one of these people is experiencing or going through automatic writing. The Jack of Spades here, this is Charles Dickens. He was a member of the Ghost Club of London. If you don't know, they're the oldest paranormal research group in London. The Queen of Spades is just a lady. She's just doing automatic writing, and it's pretty cool looking. And then we have the King of Spades here. This is William Butler Yeats. Yeats is considered to be one of the most important poets of the 20th century. But he and his wife were also devout spiritualists. And so those are your spades. So then in your diamonds, the diamonds represent horns. And so there's two blowing trumpet horns down here at the bottom. Horns are used in seances, and what they do is they amplify the voices of the dead. And so in the diamonds, you pretty much have three people that are sitting in a seance. And they're not anyone famous from history, but they're just different people that are like holding their hands or with each other, or holding their hands on the table to indicate that form of spiritualism. The clubs are a homage to the ectoplasm or spirit manifestation. Again, these cards don't represent any individual people, more so that they are just showing people experiencing this ectoplasmic kind of ghostly tangible substance that seems to come over from the dead. And how spiritualists and mediums used to do it in real life is they would take gauze and stick gauze in their mouth and kind of spit it out as kind of this ooey, gooey, gross, slimy substance. And then lastly, we have the hearts. Now, the hearts are depicting spirit photography. Spirit photography is, of course, a way of double exposing your picture so that it looks like there's a shadowy image in the background that would probably be, a lost loved one or something. And so with your heart court cards, you have people that have a little kind of spirit in the corner. And the only one of these that depicts somebody famous is the Queen of Hearts. And in the Queen of Hearts card, it's actually the spirit in the corner that's more famous than the person. This spirit is taken from a photograph that William Mumler took. William Mumler was a famous spiritual photographer, and one of his most famous pictures is a picture of actually Abraham Lincoln's wife. And Abraham Lincoln is behind her, like holding her shoulders creepily. And so this spirit that's in the corner is one of William Mumler's famous spirits. Hey everybody, just wanted to steal the camera real quick and give you a nice close-up of these cards. Of course, at any time during this video, you can always use your own computer controls and kind of stop or pause whenever you would like, just so that you can take a close-up look at some of the rich detail in this deck. Hey, there was one more thing I wanted to show you that I couldn't really show you from far away, and that is the difference between the black cards and the red cards. If you look at the wallpaper design in the background of each card, you'll notice that the black card has a muted gray black sheen to it, and then the red cards have a red muted color background. So that's kind of cool that the faces of the cards actually carry over the color of their suits. So that's it for this deck review. As always, we recommend that you like this video just so other people can find it faster. You can also subscribe to our channel just to stay up to date on the latest in cards and card magic. You can follow us on Twitter, which is twitter.com/magicorthodoxy. You can also like our page on Facebook, which is facebook.com/magicorthodoxy. Thanks. Bye.